is misunderstood.
D tier, D tier, D tier, D tier.
And
Great.
you haven't seen part 2, make sure you check that out. And just to reiterate, if your take ends up in D or F tier, I disagree. C tier is a midpoint and S tier means I fully agree. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, boom. So we actually have a lot of submissions on characters. So I'm going to use the first part of this video to talk about all your character opinions. Starting with Eve's dad is misunderstood.
D tier, D tier, D tier, D tier. Eve's dad, as much as you want to like play the devil advocate and defend him, and maybe this, maybe that, maybe he's just a little bit more conservative, maybe he just has a little bit like different values. No, he's freaking weird, bro. He's freaking weird. Even if, okay, because let me tell you about the conversation that he had with Mark in the comic, where he's like, I appreciate you dating Eve, even though she's impure, she doesn't have her virginity, this, that. Even if you were someone, and let's say, yes, you are someone, you value virginity, you value saving yourself for the right person, why are you, as a man, as the father of your daughter, going to her boyfriend and saying this to him? That's disgusting. Cut it out. And in general, he's very stubborn. He likes to feel right, and he hates her for her powers, which she had no control over her. Like, he doesn't hate her, but he's so stuck in his ways that he just. And then when Eve did mess up, and he happened to be right, it boosts his ego even more. Like, I don't even know what to say. Eve's father just sucks, bro. He's just bad. He's a terrible dad.
Eve's dad is the definition of why don't my kids visit me anymore. I genuinely
Exactly.
cannot name one instance of Eve's dad.
You're constantly just starting arguments with your own children. Look, the Bible says, children, obey your parents. And parents, do not provoke your children to anger. Like, stop, bro. Come on.
Remotely trying to be a good dad. From when he said that Eve needs to forgive Rex for cheating in season 1, we knew what kind of guy this was. There is no fatherly love. But beyond that, it's his refusal to accept Eve for who she is which annoys me the most. Your daughter is a superhero, and I get you're scared of her powers, but instead of trying to encourage her, he just demonizes her. To him, she's just unstable, and he has too much pride to see her as anything other than a time bomb. And at the end of the day, if you're beating out all these characters in a poll for most hated and you don't have a fraction of the screen time, you know you're doing something wrong. He isn't misunderstood, he's just a bad person. So this is F tier. Okay, our
Yeah,
second take for
F
the
tier.
characters is that Amber is actually overhated. See, talking about Amber is always a bit more complicated, so if this segment goes on a bit longer, don't blame me in it. But I don't necessarily think Amber is overhated. Most of the criticism against her is all from season 1, because season 2 Amber,
Season 2 Amber is perfectly fine. Uh, I don't even dislike Amber, really. Even the whole race swapping thing, I don't care. But the issues people have with their character is that Mark lied to her. Lot. It's a secret identity. That it defeats the whole purpose of a secret identity. It was no longer secret, and then she knew about it, and yet she still had the audacity to pretend to be mad, like Mark actually abandoned them. Being Because the way she was acting, even if you were mad about him lying, if you knew that he was lying and instead you're making him think that you believed he actually abandoned you, it is, you see how it's flawed. And I understand the character flaw, but when you the viewer who associate yourself with Mark, the main character, because he's the person you see the most, so you put yourself in his shoes, you feel very annoyed by the situation. So she's not really overhated. She just had a terrible character moment in the first season, and that's fine.
feels as if she was written to be a totally different character. The reason she is so hated in season 1 is because of her admitting that she knew Mark was a superhero and was still unforgiving and stubborn about it. You see, throughout their relationship in season 1, we could sympathize with Amber because she was trying to date a guy, this guy who just keeps running away from their dates and giving her flimsy excuses about why he has to leave. If your significant other did this to you, you would rightfully be pissed. But from when
Mm-hmm.
she admitted that she knew he was invincible, that's where it all goes wrong. Because
Exactly, because if she didn't know, then it would just be oh, Mark, you kind of messed up. You should have just told her. Oh, Mark, you were kind of struggling to balance the this that. Oh, Mark, you probably should have been more upfront. But when it becomes a she knows, but she was like messing with you, I guess, like making you think that she thought that you abandoned her is what the hell? Come on.
Amber now has no reasonable excuse for why she's always reacting in frustration. Take for example his first fight with the Reaniman. Mark runs away to put on his costume and saves William. When he comes back, Amber is mad at him for leaving them all in danger. This would be a reasonable thing to get mad about if she didn't know he was invincible. But in this moment, she did know, and she got mad at him and she cried and she tried to guilt trip him into admitting he's invincible. It's just a
See, you can't be mad about your partner at your partner for lying and then try to guilt trip them into telling the truth. If you want to, if your issue is they're lying, how about you don't lie either? Okay, how about you be upfront and say, "Yo, I know. Can you stop lying to me?"
really weird thing to do when you know he's a superhero. You could have talked to him about it in private, but she tried to shame him in front of everyone. Amber claimed to value honesty, but in the end, she exposes her own selfish ambitions and controlling nature. And even though she pretty much did a 180 in season 2 after what Mark had gone through, there's really no saving her character. Because nobody wants to see a character do a 180 without having proper development. Because look at Rex for example, he had character development of a similar degree, and that was received really well by the fans. But the same just can't be said for Amber because she goes from not being understanding to being very understanding. But there was no
See, and it's crazy that it was just that one choice that messed it up. I don't know why the writers decided that was a good idea to make it so that she knew. Fly away, fly boy. Shit was so corny, bro. She could have been like, "Oh, it's a little late, blah blah blah. You should have told me this sooner. I can't trust you." Sure, but this I already knew thing, this some BS, bro.
no development in between to actually allow this character shift to make real sense. It's a shame really because I think season 2 Amber is a much better character. The same way Rex is a much better character in season 3. But the difference between them is that Rex had time to develop and Amber didn't. So there was just nothing that could have been done to save her. So unfortunately, I think the Amber hate is justified, but she did get done a bit dirty by the writers, so I'll put this take in D tier. Okay, character take number 3.
But yeah, the
Donald
writers
is
owed her because
underrated.
she wasn't like on
This
the
is an
comics at all.
absolutely valid take. Donald, the hero we don't talk about enough. At first, he seems to just
I
be
have no
like
opinion on
another
Donald.
typical assistant to the leader. But with his character arc in season 2, we learn that he's so much more. This man has sacrificed himself time and time again to save others. He never had knowledge of his many sacrifices. Each time was a fresh start for him mentally, and yet every time
He's
he puts
cooking.
others before himself. And the speech he gave to Rick was really good to watch. Seeing these two who feel as if they've lost some part of their humanity because of the bodies they're in, and Donald saying that we are not our bodies, we are the decisions we make, the lives we change, and the people we love, was an excellent way to show the kind of person he is. He earns our respect without even being a superhero or having special abilities. I don't know if you guys
He
have
kind of has
watched
special
One Punch Man,
abilities.
but he reminds me of Moomin Rider, the human who puts themselves up against things they know they can't beat just to help others get to safety. To me, that shows their true courage. And this is why I love Invincible. This show always does a good job with their side characters. So yeah, I like Donald, and this is an S tier take. Alright, cool. The last take on characters. Alan the Alien is the best written character. Okay, I definitely don't think he's the best written character, but he is one of my personal favorites. That's because I like characters that are comic relief while still being a character we can take seriously. Like Rex or Machine Head, Alan being so loved by everyone.
Alan is one of my favorites. I will say that Alan the goat, bro. Although the best written character for me is Omni Man. I like Omni Man the most, man. Omni Man followed by Mark and Debbie. Ooh, it's just that family, bro. they put their foot into the writing for that
doesn't
family.
really surprise me. And there isn't really much to analyze in terms of his actual character, because he's a simple guy with a simple mission, and I like that. So I'll just slap this in B tier. Okay, now we're moving on to the discussion of plot points. And the first one is that Cecil isn't dumb for capturing Conquest. And I actually agree.
Okay. Because I know how it plays out in the comics, I don't really want to spoil anything. I will say, um, if he wanted to do it, he should have done it in a way that made more sense. Yeah, hold up. Oh, okay. We back. But yeah, like I was saying, he should have done it in a way that made more sense. He should have like put in the little buzzing things in the air like he did to Mark,
To an extent, I think
instead of only trapping him in a weight that we saw Mark, who is weaker than Conquest, lift at the beginning of the season.
this guy put it best. The actual decision he made to capture him isn't dumb, because it's true. He doesn't know there's only 50 Viltrum.
No more interruptions. Come on.
Viltrumites left. And what Cecil saw was how much Earth struggled against 10 weaker Viltrumites. And minor spoilers coming up for show only watchers, skip to the next segment if you don't want to hear it. But even if they did kill Conquest,
Yeah, you heard him. Minor
in
spoilers.
his eyes, it's the same thing as him escaping. Because from his perspective, more Viltrumites will come regardless. So taking the risk to capture him and interrogate him is a worthwhile risk in his eyes. Cecil is just making a calculated decision which he has made off of his limited information, and we can see that. So the problem, in my opinion, isn't the decision to capture him, it's the execution of the capture. Because
Exactly.
there's no way he actually thought this underground bunker tungsten thing was enough to stop him. Surely we can do a little bit better than this. Why not install one of those ear devices in his head? Like, the GDA is so resourceful, they definitely have some options to increase their chances of actually capturing him. I don't know, maybe install some kind of thing to stop his limbs from growing back. I don't know. But for someone you think is stronger than Omni-Man, the best decision you could come up with was tungsten in a bunker underground. This doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. So in conclusion, I think the decision to actually capture him is not that bad. The real problem is that the necessary precautions to actually prevent his escape were terrible. So I would put this take in C tier. I do agree the decision is not bad, but the execution was really bad. Okay, take number 2. Mark's blue suit wasn't as good as it was hyped up to be. Well, if you mean in terms of the color scheme, I think I prefer his first suit. However,
I mean, it's the difference between comic art and animation. The blue suit worked really well in the comics. I mean, it was a new color scheme. His personality while he was wearing the blue suit is like, oh, Mark is about to, no more nice Mark. Mark is about to go off. Like that's what people liked about it. It's just the difference between
However, I
the
think it's more important
mediums.
to actually talk about what this suit stood for. This suit served to show Mark's new beginnings as an independent after the whole beef with Cecil. He needed a fresh start, and I like this. After everything he went through with Powerplex and Oliver and the war and then Conquest, he seriously was not able to catch a break, and it was the darkest time for him, which is why I think the blue and black suit was a good representation, because that color scheme represents a more dark and villainous arc for him compared to yellow, which is more joyful. The color palette slight change in his suit signifies the direction of the story. That's what I think the suit stands for, and that's why I like it. I don't necessarily think it was overhyped. Taking away the yellow from his suit is like taking away the joy. This man was so happy before. Like, think about when he first put on that suit. It was a very happy time. He was smiling all the time. But
So
throughout this
he's
entire
happy until he
arc,
got
I don't think I've seen him
beat
smile
by his
once.
dad.
But all in all, I don't think this suit was overhyped. It was hyped because of what it represents, and that's what I like about it. So I would disagree. I'll put this take in D tier. Okay, the third and final take on plot points. The show needs to kill off more characters and stop with the fake out deaths. I sort of agree on this because I feel like expectations were kind of set in season 1 when Omni-Man wiped the Guardians that this show isn't afraid to kill off its characters. However, I feel as time has gone on, it's kind of lost that feeling. Like, the only character who we care about that died in season 3 was Rex. And I do like how his death was set up, but I feel like there are some instances we can actually just kill off a few more characters. Let's take Angstrom for example. 2 times this man has escaped death. I'll be real, he's had his time. I don't know what he's going to do later on in the story, but I really don't want to see him as a main villain again. I genuinely hope that he's not. And the
Yeah. I'm not gonna say anything.
Sequids
Just to
as
not
well. This
spoil.
plot, man, is so boring.
Yeah, no, the Sequids plotline it is boring. I will say that.
I don't care about the Sequids, just let the whole plot point die. But yeah, man, this isn't much of an issue for me personally. It doesn't bother me that much that the show isn't killing off characters like it used to. But it definitely is sort of getting to a point where I feel like things are being dragged on and they just shouldn't be. So I would agree with this, even though it doesn't bother me that much. I'll put it in A tier. Okay, and for the third part of this video, we have the debates. And the first debate is that Poole has the best drip. I mean, honestly, it's not even a bad take. My boy Poole is always clean. I like his fits, I like his style. Underrated drip for real. I don't know if he has the most drip though. I think Omni-Man's suit is very, very clean. And Battle Beast as well. Who else even has drip like that in Invincible? I think
Nah, bro. Battle Beast be getting his braided, bro. Battle Beast look, he got the most drip.
Sinister Mark probably has the best suit. Omni Mark is also clean. Yeah, and other than those guys, I can't really think of anyone else off the top of my head who has drip like that. But you know what? I like this take, so I'll just put it in S tier. Okay, take number 2. Red Rush was the most powerful Earth hero. To be honest, I think you might be right. Because of all the heroes who are actually from Earth, the only ones I think are stronger than him is Atom Eve and Tech Jacket. Atom Eve's abilities are seriously OP, and we will probably see more of that in the next season. And Tech Jacket I only know is strong because of how much discussion I see around him from those who have read the comics. So they'll be more knowledgeable on this than me. But out of every other Earth hero, I can't really see him losing to anyone else. He's the only reason the OG Guardians didn't get wiped in an instant. But you see, the thing with speedsters is that they're kind of difficult to write in a show where there are a lot of fast characters. His ability on paper is really OP, and we know he's the fastest character by a lot because, you know, he perceives time slower than everyone else, and there are no other characters who are said to perceive time slower just because of how fast they are. So on paper, I think he's really OP and should be untouchable by at least most of the Earth superheroes other than the 2 I mentioned in a 1v1. So I'll give this take an A tier. And
Yeah, and anybody who wants to argue Immortal over Red Rush, your GOAT Immortal's a fraud, okay? He's a bum.
finally, the last debate is that Omni-Man would beat Conquest in a 1v1. This debate could be a whole video topic in itself, so
Conquest is a lot older than Omni-Man. Although, I don't want to make the argument of Mark and Eve being able. Yeah, it took Mark and Eve. And Eve took off her limiters, and Mark basically had a rage boost. Plus, there's kind of like a half Saiyan thing going on where Mark has greater potential. I think based off of combat spirit experience and due to Conquest's age, I feel like he'd beat Omni-Man.
I'll summarize my main thoughts and you guys can discuss it more in the comments on anything you think I missed. Firstly, I think Conquest is probably stronger than Omni-Man, but I feel like that's all he has going for him, just based off of how the character of Conquest
Okay. Okay. Off of his personality, he is more of a brawler. I feel like Omni-Man would be smarter about how he fights him, but Conquest does again still have way more combat experience.
is written. He's written to just be this vicious, world-conquering beast. To me, He is all strength and no brains, an unhinged psycho that other Viltrumites are scared of. And if other Viltrumites are scared of you, I think that says a lot. But as we all know, strength alone isn't winning you a fight. Omni-Man is far more competent and calculated than Conquest. If these two really did fight, I reckon Conquest might slightly beat him out in terms of strength, but because of the kind of person Conquest is, he might start having fun with the fight and not be serious and try and draw it out.
Wait, what am I talking about? Wait, they fought in the comics. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. Well, they didn't fight directly. I'm not even gonna spoil the context. I'm not even gonna spoil the
Out just to
context.
enjoy it more. This would
But
allow
I I
Omni-Man
I, I know who the stronger one is.
to then take advantage of him in some way because of his intelligence. To me, I feel like Omni-Man would win this with extreme diff, but I'm gonna need the comic book readers to let me know because I'm still not sure. So I will just hesitantly put this in B tier. But you know what? That is it for today's video.
Yeah, let's just say I got my money on Conquest. But yeah, solid little Invincible hot take reaction. If you're on a YouTube, well, if you're watching a YouTube video, pull up to the YouTube streams, pull up to the Twitch streams, pull up to any streams, because we'll be streaming on YouTube Tuesday through Friday, and on Twitch Monday. No, Tuesday through Thursday, and on Twitch and wait, I'm being so slow. This is a terrible outro. We'll be streaming on Twitch and YouTube Tuesday through Thursday, and Twitch only Monday and Friday, because Monday and Friday we react to Arcane, and YouTube gets a little antsy about their shows. But that being said, take care, stay blessed. I love you. God loves you.